Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. You know what today is? It's Monday Morning Chats with Sag, and Sag is me. I hope that you guys had a good weekend. It is so cold and it's raining outside, so I am definitely not going outside. And the semester is over, so I don't have work until the new year, so I'm excited about that. Um, Today is special. Today is special because today I celebrate 9 years. This is my swearing in anniversary date. So today marks 9 years that I've been a licensed attorney. I'm so grateful. I am appreciative of all the people that I've crossed paths with. I'm grateful for my other attorney friends, attorney colleagues that we made it, right? Especially those that got sworn in on December 18th. We made it. And I'm so excited. But I'm grateful that I just never gave up. And when I think about my swearing in testimony, it just solidifies that God is real and He make things happen. He makes a way out of no way. And I could have never done this process without God. So I'm so grateful for that. So I'll probably get some like wine or something to celebrate. I always try to celebrate. But if it's nasty outside all day, I'm not going out. I'm not going outside. I'm just not doing it. So I thought about what to say today. Before I share my Monday morning chat, I would like to give a special shout out to someone, my cousin Shakira. So last Monday I did not have Monday morning chats with Sag. I went to my godmother's funeral December 8th, and I just was not in the mood to do any type of chat. The time that I give to you guys, I just wanted to give it to myself. That was a hard funeral, and I'm so thankful that it was in New Jersey, and my cousin took off of work to show up to be there. And I didn't know she was going to be there until I got to the church and saw her there. I knew her mother would be there because her and my other aunts, they all knew my godmother. They pretty much just grew up together because that's my mom's best friend. But she showed up. And the first thing she said, I was like, hey, you're here. And she was like, I wanted to be here for you because Lord knows I needed her there. And when I got there, when it was time to view the body, I just really broke down. And she was just like, she just pulled me to the side, just gave me the hug that even though I didn't ask for, I did need it. And so when I tried to like get up to say, I got it, she was like, no, have your head down. And I just cried even more. So Shakira, if you're watching this, just know that I truly appreciate you. Seriously, really do. When I found out about her passing, I was already going to a holiday party. So my girlfriend Olivia, she went to the holiday party with me. We already bought our tickets prior to hearing about her death. And then she took me out to dinner afterwards. And so I just want to say, Olivia, if you're watching this, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm just so grateful for my friends. I mean, my girlfriend Taisha, my girlfriend Kim, my best friend Melissa, best friend Tiana, just checking up on me. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot thank you enough. And I truly appreciate you all. So yesterday for church, the senior pastor, Keith Battle, did not preach. Instead, one of the lead pastors, Larry Page, preached. And it was a good sermon, right? It was amazing. And he talked about communication barriers and how sometimes the barriers that we have in between communication doesn't allow us to really connect. And he gave us a formula for safe space. And the formula for safe space is acceptance minus judgment plus listening equals a safe space. And it just made me think about like people that don't have safe spaces, or maybe they just don't know how to create it, right? So hopefully you can use that formula to make a safe space for yourself and for other people. But what I want to talk about is, are you carrying burdens that you should let go? right? Are you carrying burdens that you should let go? I feel like in this era, we go to social media for various things. One of my cousins sent me the link to go to like the Tonight's, I guess it's called Tonight's podcast. I think they're like having shows like sometime next year in various cities, and even in the city which I live or close by. And I don't want to go, right? I'm mindful who I take advice from, who I listen to, what I allow myself to listen to. Some things it's okay, I can deal with it, like, okay, I can understand it, but some things it's just like, no. But when you hear people like raise their hand for these live podcasts and you listen to the questions, or when you are communicating with people and you're talking about things, and sometimes you don't know you hit a nerve, right? You may hit a nerve that caused someone to be triggered. You don't know until you ask these questions. But it makes me think, the burdens that you have, are you still carrying them? And if so, when would you make the decision to let go? I just got off of therapy. I just did telehealth, and I just had my meeting with my therapist. And I asked her, I said, can you still heal and not forgive? And she said, you can make progress, but forgiveness is a part of, she said, you can make progress, but forgiving is a part of the healing journey. So if you haven't forgave, then you haven't healed. And I think about the people that had these burdens, that did not let them go, that had not made the decision to really heal, to move forward, and to let go, and how that affects friendships, how it affects how they show up in friendships, how they show up at jobs, how they show up in any platonic relationship, but also how they show up in romantic relationships. Because of their inability to let things go, sometimes these things resurface, right? If you wonder why, hey, I actually care for this person, but I don't know how to express myself. Or I care for this person, but I don't want to get too close. You got to ask yourself, what is a barrier that's blocking you from establishing true connections? What are those burdens? Did it start from when you were a child? A lot of times we're still holding on to burdens that from our childhood that we never let go, and they show up. And so when you see someone that should be in their 30s, maybe their 30s, 40s, you're like, why are they still acting like kids? And sometimes it's the burdens that they had from a long time ago that they decided not to let go. I think that sometimes people like to keep these burdens and hold them like they're jewels to seek attention. But if they only knew that it's holding them back from receiving true joy, right? To receiving true joy. I truly think that things don't just happen to happen. I think things happen to us for various reasons, whether it's the good or the bad. But these things that happen to us, I think there's some type of lesson to be learned, right? Whether it's a job that you did not like and you despise your supervisor, your manager, whoever you reported to, and maybe it was painful days at that employment. But I'm pretty sure there is a lesson in the pain. The question is, are you still holding on to the pain and didn't think about learning the lesson? What was the lesson that you had? Because anytime that we get into any type of relationship, we have this baggage, right? So I'm just giving an example. So this is one of my makeup bags, right? It's closed, right? You can't see what's in there. And so let's say that I'm entering into a relationship. This is my baggage, right? Can't see it. It's like on my back, right? You can't see it. But this is the bag that I am carrying. And depending on how many burdens you have, this bag can be extremely heavy, right? It can be extremely heavy. And because it's extremely heavy and you didn't let it go, this shows up in relationships, right? Insecurities show up, right? You're not secure in who you are. Maybe you still feel shame and guilt about things, so maybe you're insecure. Guilt may show up. Maybe you couldn't let go of something, or what you have done to someone, or what someone has done for you. The lack of forgiveness, it shows up, right? Lack of self-awareness shows up. Lack of self-love shows up. And just imagine when you have this burden, these burdens that you don't let go. Sometimes they pour on the person that actually wants to love you, right? It could be a friend, it could be a romantic person, but these burdens show up and they pour onto the person that don't deserve it. But what happens when you're able to let go, right? You start cleaning up the mess. All the things in the bag, you start cleaning them up, put them in, and then you decide to close it up and release it. And you release it, nothing's heavy on your back anymore, right? Nothing's heavy on your back. And it just makes me think, how big is your bag, right? How big is the bag that you're carrying? What's inside the bag? What is it? Is it guilt? Is it lack of forgiveness? Do you still need your inner child healed? Maybe you never talked about it. You still haven't forgave anyone from your past. Maybe you can't love yourself. Maybe you're not happy with who you are, right? Maybe you feel like you're incomplete. Maybe you feel like there's some things that you need to accomplish, but you're not sure if you're able to do that. What if you feel like you never accomplish what you wanted? So now you're doing a job that you absolutely hate. And you're reminded that this is not the job that you want every time you wake up and go to work, right? You're just doing this to just get a paycheck, but you don't love it there. You don't like it. You don't want to be there. It's funny because before I got sworn in and I failed the bar, and I kept thinking about a plan B. I didn't even know how to create one because I had a plan A for this whole entire time, from college up until I graduated from law school. Like, law school was the plan A. I didn't have a plan B. I thought about creating one, and I felt like every time I tried to create one, I would talk to my best friend like, hey, can you look for me some different master's programs? I'm going to do a master's program. And every time I kept thinking about these problems, these outlets, these different ways out, instead of me doing what I really wanted, God was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I need you to get off the phone. I need you to stop crying. And I need you to study. And I did a complete turn with my grades my first year in law school. Like, yeah, no. So what? You didn't get an A your first semester, but you're going to get A's the next semester. And I did that. All A's in the B. And I realized that, hey, it's possible, right? But I doubted myself. So in my bag, I had a lot of self-doubt, right? My first semester, it scarred me because I was so used to doing well that was a semester I didn't do as well as I wanted to. So I had self-doubt, lack of self-esteem, not sure if I was able to make it. And then as I got older, and when I graduated from law school, and when I failed the bar, the thing that went in my bag was failure. These were the burdens. I didn't think I was good enough, right? So I carried this on my back. And so when it came up to relationships, I couldn't really show up because I had all these things burying the person that I am. You just couldn't see it because I had all these things on my back, and it was weighing me down. And so I couldn't really communicate how I wanted to because these things were in the way. These burdens that I had, they were in the way. But once I learned to release them, it made communication better. Once I was able to release them, it made me feel better about myself. Once I was able to release them, I got a chance to see and feel what joy feels like. I got a chance to see what it feels like to really be happy. And I don't care how many times someone posts something on social media about, oh, I'm happy. Look at me, I'm smiling. But just because you're smiling doesn't mean that you're happy. Happiness is an inside job. It's an inside job, right? And if people pay attention close enough, sometimes people hide the pain that people hide behind their smiles is wild. And I pray that if you're listening to this, and if you do have these burdens, you have this big bag, what's in it? Can you solve all these problems? But I used to think that because I had these burdens, and because I had these problems, that I wasn't worthy of love. And I realized that I am. But the first thing is that I had to learn to really love myself. So the burdens that I had in this bag, I had to let them go one by one, right? Right? The lack of forgiveness, the lack of trust, the lack of self-doubt, the lack of guilt, right? All these things, I had to let them go. And once I let them go, I learned what it was like to be free. I shared this before. I'm very open with this. I had an abortion 7 years ago. And it took me 2 years to get over dealing with Mother's Day. Like, Mother's Day was a real hard day for me to process. And I would, just do things so I wouldn't think about it. But I had to deal with it and say that was okay. That was a decision that I made. So it's mind-boggling when I see about the Supreme Court and the decisions. And there's a new case with Texas where a woman's pregnancy can jeopardize her life. And the courts are saying if you get an abortion with this, we are considering it as a felony, right? We're considering this as a crime that you committed, but it's costing her life. But I've learned to get over that, right? I still remember that day like it was yesterday. But once I was able to let that go, and I was like, hey, I made a mistake. I realized I was able to let that go when I was able to talk about it when I was able to not only talk about it in therapy, but when I was able to talk about that in Bible study, right? I was able to talk about that in Bible study, to let that go. So what are your burdens? What's in your bag? What is it? Is it guilt? Is it shame? Is it lack of forgiveness? Insecurities? What is it? Whatever is in this bag, I can let you know. This bag, aka your burdens, you can let them go. Because if you want to receive any type of connection, one thing is to acknowledge that you have these. And the second thing is to figure out how to release them. It doesn't happen overnight. But I know that it takes progress, right? It takes the person saying that, hey, I have these problems and I like to release these things. So anybody that's listening to this is my prayer for you. My prayer for you is that we all have baggage. All of us do. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how much money you make. We all have baggage. Some of our bags may be bigger than others. But the one thing I want you to know is that you are worthy of love. But I pray that you give it to yourself first. Right? I pray that you give it to yourself first. I pray that you give yourself grace. Right? Give yourself grace that we're all carrying something that may be heavy for us at this time. And sometimes we may not know how to release it. But there is help to help you release whatever you are feeling. The question is, are you willing to get help? Right? Are you willing to get help? I hate some of these podcasts out here in this time because I feel like there's women and men that hate each other. And I think they hate each other because there's a barrier that we haven't released to really fully see each other for who we really are. And to realize, despite the baggage, despite the burdens, despite what we're going through, we're all worthy of love. We're worthy to receive it, and we're worthy to give it. You just have to know that, right? And so I pray that going into this new year, 2024, I pray nothing but blessings for you. I pray that you're able to release, because when you do, you're able to be free. And free looks different for everybody, but what I can say, free for me is being okay with the decisions that I made. Being okay that some things may never change with other people, but I can control me and me only. Being free means to be lighthearted. That's what free means to me. And so my prayer to you all is that you let go of the burdens. You let them go, one by one by one. And when you do, you will feel this light weight that you never felt before. We all deserve it. But I pray that you don't put a wall up or any barrier because you have burdens, right? And think that you're not deserving of things when you are. You deserve good things. Just because you did bad things in the past doesn't mean that you're a bad person now, right? Just because you did bad things doesn't mean that you're not deserving of love. You are. I just hope that you know that. So it is Monday. So I'd like to shout out to all the dope men out there. You are amazing. You are great. You are phenomenal. I pray that people create safe spaces for you. But I pray that people make you feel warm, right? So I pray that this week that someone just gives you a hug just because. Just because. And even though you may not ask for it, I'm pretty sure that's something that you need. I pray that someone gives you a hug today and tell you that you're amazing. And I pray that someone holds your hand and tell you that it's okay. You may think this is mushy now, and you may think, Sakina, what the hell are you talking about? But let the right person hold your hand, and let the right person give you a hug and say it's safe here. It will feel something in you that you didn't even know needed to be filled. To everybody else, I hope that people are able to love on you this week, going into the holiday season. This is also a difficult time for people that are grieving. So my heart is with you. So I'm giving you virtual hugs during this time. This is for everyone. But that's all I have. Thank you guys so much. I pray for you guys. And hey, take a shot for me. I'm celebrating 9 years as a lawyer. Take care and happy Monday.